Good morning, you guys. Ignore my just got out of bed look. I'm planning on staying in my pajamas all day. I may take a shower, but then I'm just gonna put pajamas right back on. I'm doing something crazy today. I'm going to be prepping a dinner for us for basically all of September. So I'm gonna do a combination of like ready to bake freezer meals and also like crock pot ready freezer meals. So some stuff I'll be cooking, some I won't. I went grocery shopping last night and I actually did not spend as much as I thought I would. I spent $100, so that was good for an entire month's worth of meals. I didn't get home until really late last night, so I can't show you all of the groceries that I bought, but I will show you the list that I made with everything. Okay, so here's the list that I made out. So first I wrote down all of the meals that I want to cook. So I'm gonna do chicken tacos or like fajitas. I haven't really decided yet. Italian wedding soup, beef barley stew, potato soup, buffalo chicken baked potatoes, Hawaiian pork chops, and sausage stew. So the buffalo chicken, the potato soup, and the Italian wedding soup are the ones that I'm gonna pre-cook. That way all I have to do is heat them up. But then I also want to make a whole bunch of spaghetti sauce to have on hand and freeze, and I also want to chop up a whole bunch of potatoes and just put them in the freezer because I love potatoes, but half of the work is cutting them. Okay, so this is not quite everything that I bought. I did also have some stuff on hand, and also the like $100 included 2 bottles of wine, like milk, eggs, bread, just stuff that we needed in general anyways. So this was all less than $100, and some stuff like garlic, onion, potatoes. I do have more that we already had on hand. So I'll just start over here. Have a bag of kale, cabbage, 3 bags of baby carrots, 4 red bell peppers, 4 orange bell peppers. Instead of buying cans and cans of broth, I bought beef flavored bouillon. I don't know how to say it, but it's basically like what you use to make the broth. And I also got a chicken one. Have garlic, 2 limes, an onion, a few larger potatoes that I picked out for twice baked potatoes, corn tortillas, kielbasa, bacon, and Italian sausage. Have these noodles for my Italian wedding soup. You can also use like orzo or pastina. Barley. This is stew meat, which I think we have some in the freezer as well, but I wasn't totally sure, so I went ahead and bought some just in case. We have pork chops, which I don't normally like, but I'm going to use these in the slow cooker, and I think I will like them. And some chicken breast. Then we have 3 cans of tomato paste, 4 cans of pineapple chunks, and 4 cans of tomato sauce. So I think what I'm going to start with is the buffalo chicken baked potatoes, because I'm going to put that chicken in the crock pot right now. I've made these before. I've shared them before. I don't know if I've shared them on YouTube, but I've shared them on my Instagram. I've made them in the crock pot, and I've also made them just like on the stove with shredded chicken that I had. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you guys in a little bit, but I'm going to make like the whole chicken mixture in the crock pot, let it cook for like 8 hours so it gets nice and tender. I don't have to shred it. And then I'm going to use these potatoes. I have more in there, but these are big ones that I picked out. I'm going to wash them, bake them, then cut them in half, scoop out the potato, and bake the skins. Okay, so first we're seasoning our chicken with pepper, salt, and garlic powder. I'm just using this Winco brand hot sauce, which is basically the cheaper version of Frank's Red Hot. I have a little bit left in this one and a full bottle here, so I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it honestly and see what I think. This is half of a bottle, the empty one. Here's my full one. I'm probably gonna do about half of it. that's how much I used of that one. I think that should be good. And for now, I'm just gonna do 1 brick of cream cheese because I can always add more in later if I need to, and I don't think I can do this with one hand. It's exactly 9 o'clock. We are going to cook this on low, and I'll check on it in about 4 hours, see if we need to change anything, and we'll probably cook it for 4 more hours. So by the time the 8 hours of the chicken cooking was up, my phone actually died, so I couldn't share how I made the rest of these. They're super easy. Once you have like your chicken mixture, the chicken just pulls apart, shreds really easily. You can stir the cream cheese up into there, and then for the potatoes, you just bake them, cut them in half, scoop it out, put the skins in the oven so they can get a little bit crispy, and then mix the potato you scooped out into the chicken mixture and restuff them. I had enough chicken mixture left over to freeze some extra, so that was nice. I just kind of added some into the potato instead of putting all the potato in there. Otherwise it would have been all chicken. And then I just froze them, and we've already eaten some, and they're super yummy. I just let them defrost overnight and then cook them for like 20-ish minutes, 20 to 30, depending on how long they need to reheat, because it's all already cooked. Okay, I just realized I should probably go change my shirt because this is Zach's white t-shirt and I don't want to stain it, so I'm gonna change. Next, I'm gonna start on the potato soup. So the very first thing I'm gonna do is cook the bacon. I have a package of leftover bacon, so I'm gonna cook that as well as the one that I bought last night because we'll always eat it for breakfast or whatever. I'm not gonna use all of it in the soup, but since I'm cooking it now, I might as well cook it all. So I have my big stock pot here that I'm gonna cook the bacon in because I like using the fat to cook the rest of my stuff. And while I start cooking the bacon, I'm also going to chop probably an onion and a half. I have a half in the fridge, and probably half of this garlic. There's actually a lot of bacon left here, so I'm just gonna cook this one. Bacon stays good for a really long time. This is good through November, so I'm not gonna cook that one right now. Just what I have left here. Alright, so all the bacon is almost done. I don't know what's up with my pot, if it's just on the last leg or what, but it's not being very non-stick. I have 1.5 onions, and then I think this is 10 cloves of garlic, and I'm just going to use my veggie chopper on all of the garlic. It is the best for garlic. And now it's all chopped up. I'm going to try to get as much of it out as I can. I still have a little bit of bacon left to cook, so I'm going to start chopping my potatoes because those will take a while, and I don't want to start the onions and the garlic while I'm in the middle of chopping the potatoes because they'll burn. Okay, I just added my onions and my garlic, and I'm going to stir these frequently and try to scrape up as much as the brown bits of the bacon I can because that's where all of the flavor is. And I'm just going to saute this until it's fragrant and the onions are translucent. Then I'll make my roux. These are nice and sauteed. Now I'm going to kind of eyeball it, but I'm going to add a few tablespoons of flour into here to make my roux. So roux is just flour and fat. Typically you don't do it with the other stuff, but I like to saute my onions and my garlic first. This is a half tablespoon, and I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. Honestly, I don't ever measure things when I cook. It's bad because I can never make the same thing twice, but it's how I was raised. Okay, so that's roughly 6 tablespoons. You can already feel it getting nice and thick. So the roux is what's gonna thicken your soup. You can use like half and half or heavy cream. I just have milk, so instead of having to buy one of those, you can make the roux and then use milk. And I think that is pretty dang good. Okay, now I'm gonna go measure out my milk. I'm actually gonna put in my potatoes before I put in my liquid. One, because I don't want it to splatter everywhere. And two, I'll know exactly how much liquid I need in here. That is nice and thick now. Yummy. Potatoes are going in. Starting off with 4 cups of milk. Gonna give that a nice stir around. So that's like just about enough to cover my potatoes, but obviously they're gonna soak up a lot of the liquid, so I want quite a bit more. Okay, another 4 cups of milk makes 8 cups of milk total. And 2 more cups is 10. Here's what this is looking like. I'm going to let this milk heat up, and then I'm going to add in some chicken broth. Actually, I'm use this chicken bouillon. I don't know how you say that word, so sorry. But you need boiling water for this, so I'm going to let this boil. And my spoon is falling in. Let this boil, and then I'll throw it in with a cup of water. Actually, I'll do 2 cups of this. So we have 12 cups of liquid total. While I'm waiting for that to heat up, I'm gonna chop up some of my bacon. I have 5 pieces here. While this is cooking, basically you just have to cook the potatoes and then it's done. Well, we just had a catastrophe. I was bagging up the potato soup. I had one bag perfectly wedged in between this jar of flour. It was all fine and dandy. I was bagging up the other bag. And I guess I just vibrated the counter or something, because the bag that was back here just tipped over and spilled. Yeah. I'm gonna start on some of my other recipes. So the first one I'm gonna do, because I think it'll be the easiest, is the Hawaiian pork chops. This one package of pork, there's 4 pork chops in there, is gonna make enough for 2 meals for us. So I'm gonna divvy everything up into 2 separate bags. And that is for just Zach and I will eat that. I like to roll down my Ziploc bag, because if you drip anything, it's technically on the inside of the bag, so it's not gonna get all over the outside of your bag. So we're just gonna prop this up here. I'm gonna add 2 pork chops to my bag, and I'm gonna put them side by side, not on top of each other. That way they will thaw faster when I take them out of the freezer. So we got the 2 pork chops. I bought enough pineapple to do 2 cans of pineapple in each, but I think just 1 will be enough, because we're gonna add some other liquids as well. Okay, I'm gonna put everything in there, the juice included. Then we're gonna add soy sauce, and I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it, honestly. And then a teaspoon of brown sugar. There we go. This literally took like 5 minutes max to do each, and they're all ready to go. So I'm going to spray them, lay them flat like this one. Gonna do the same thing to this one. Write a little label on them with some directions, and pop them in the freezer. So what I would make with these is like some broccoli and some rice to go over the top, but both of those are super easy things that don't require much effort at all. So I have these old labels from when I used to have my Etsy shop. I cut them in half lengthwise, and I just wrote what the item is, what ingredients are in it, the directions, and then the date that I am putting it in the freezer. And my next task is going to be reorganizing this freezer, because it's a disaster and this is not going to be fun. All right, so on the door I have some frozen gnocchi. This chicken can go here. Some frozen blueberries that I use in my oatmeal, more frozen fruit, some frozen vegetables. Up here I just have 2 ice packs, some frozen enchiladas, spaghetti sauce. We have a built-in ice maker, but there's no water hookup, so we don't ever use this. So I put all of our beef products. So we have like stew meat, some ground beef, some steaks, that kind of thing. This is leftover meat from the rodeo barbecue. We have chicken, some enchilada sauce, some pot stickers from Costco, frozen cheese, that bag of vegetables, and our popsicles. So this entire space up here can be dedicated to all of our freezer meals. All right, next I'm gonna start on the chicken fajitas. So I have 4 orange bell peppers and 4 red. I'm gonna chop these up. Here's all of our bell peppers. Since I ran out of room on the cutting board, I'm going to divvy up my chicken into my bags and then add the bell peppers, and then I'll go in and cut the onion and add the onion on top. Now I'm gonna chop 1 onion, and I'm gonna do 1/2 per bag. I found the fajita seasoning that I have, but this uses 1 pound of meat. I have roughly 1.5 pounds per bag. So I'm gonna do 1 bag that's fajitas and 1 bag that is tacos. So I'm just gonna dump my seasoning into them, and then they're good to go. When I go to use these 2, I'll add however much water it says. I think it's a cup of water, 1/4 cup water. All right, we got our chicken tacos done and our chicken fajitas done. These are gonna go in the freezer now. All right, next up is our beef stew. I'm going to fill up the bags, and then I'll tell you what all is in here. All right, so I have 1 pound of stew meat in each bag. I have 1/2 a bag of baby carrots that I cut in half in each bag, 1/2 of an onion in each bag, 3/4 cup of barley in each bag, and then I have 3 of these little bouillon cubes. I added salt, pepper, garlic powder, oregano. I put thyme, but it was not thyme. I used paprika. Oops. And then I put little directions on here, so when I go to cook this, I'll just add 4 cups of water, and if I need to thicken it, because it is stew, obviously I haven't made this before, so we'll have to see, but if I do need to thicken it, I can just add cornstarch to it. And I forgot to put the date on these ones, so I'm gonna add the date. Okay, I just took like a 3-hour break because my feet were hurting so bad, and I'm tired, and yeah. We're gonna make Italian wedding soup now. So I'm using Italian sausage. You can use like ground beef and just season it. I'm gonna use ground sausage. So I'm going to brown my meat. Okay, my meat is brown. I added 1/2 of an onion that's chopped and 1/2 a bag of baby carrots that I cut into 2/3. And since I'm starting to really poop out, I'm not gonna put in fresh garlic. I'm just gonna use lots of garlic powder. The great thing about the Italian sausage is that it is super flavorful as it is. So I'm gonna season with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Okay, my phone died, but basically once the liquid was boiling, I added in my pasta, and then when it was done, I added in my kale. Now I'm gonna bag this up. Okay, the last no-cook meal that I'm doing is, we call it stew, because it's not really a stew, but it's not really a soup. So I use kielbasa. I put 1/2 of one in each, 1/4 of an onion in each, and 3 chopped up potatoes in each. Now I'm gonna do 1 can of corn per bag, 1 can of green beans per bag, and 1 can of tomato paste per bag, which I need more hands, so I'm gonna do this off camera. I think I forgot to mention this, but your green beans and your corn should be drained. Now we're gonna season these with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. If you have it, you can add a bay leaf to each. And I'm also going to do oregano. For the stew, you want you don't want to overcook the cabbage, so I'm freezing it separately, and I just have 1/4 of a head of cabbage for each. So these can go in the freezer. It's been about a week since I made the freezer meals. We've had 2 of them. We've had the potatoes, buffalo chicken potatoes, and we've had the Italian wedding soup. Both were amazing. They worked out super good. Zach made one of them. He made the soup himself, and it was great because I could just come in here, do my own thing, do my homework, and he didn't have to ask me what needed to be done on it because it already says it on the bag. And I realized I forgot to show all of the meals that were done. So let me show you how they are in our freezer. So we have the same enchiladas I showed. These are 2 of the beef barley stew, 2 potato soups, 2 of the kielbasa stews. We have 1 buffalo chicken baked potatoes left, 1 Italian wedding soup left. Oh, actually we did also use some chicken fajitas. So I think we have the chicken tacos left, and then we have 2 things of the Hawaiian pork chops left. And then I also had leftovers of the buffalo chicken. So we have 3 of those just ready to go whenever we need them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Getting so busy with all of my midterms, I just don't have time to cook. So this worked out really great. I spent 1 whole day cooking everything, and for the meals that we have, I take maybe 10 minutes to like prep whatever we're gonna have for that night. If I'm definitely gonna do these again, but when I do, the one thing I would change, which is going to be hard because Zach and I don't have the same schedules anymore, is I would make sure we do it on a day that we both can work on it together, because it was a lot of work for myself and it just really, really drained me for the rest of the weekend. It was 100% worth it. I'm very glad I did it, but it just would have been faster and less energy and time consuming if both of us were able to do it, because we could both be chopping veggies and that kind of thing, and it just, I mean, would have been half of the amount of work on myself. But other than that, I don't regret a thing. These have been amazing, so perfect for busy college students. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.